For number 9, you have a fraction. All that means is that you split up your radical, so the numerator can get its own little radical, and the denominator can get its own little radical. If I take the square root of 144, it's going to be 12. Hint, hint, all the denominators will be perfect squares, okay? And then bring your numerator over. This is just like one of these this problem right here. Exactly like it, except it's only in the numerator. Okay, so I'll find a perfect square factor of 140. Half of 140 is 70. So I'll start with 64, and I'll work my way up dividing until I find something that works. The first thing that divides evenly is 4. So I have the square root of 4 times the square root of 35. And actually on this one, I just went ahead and took that x out because I knew that the square root of x squared is going to be x on the outside. Okay, the square root of 4 is 2, so this becomes x times 2, or just 2x right here. Square root of 35 stays square root of 35. For my last step, I see that 2 and 12 have a common factor, so I need to simplify that by making this 1 or just nothing. It just goes away. And then 12 becomes a 6. And so I'll end up having x square root 35 all over 6. And that's probably the hardest problem on this sheet, so don't be worried. For number 10, the first thing I'll do is I'll work with this 200. About half of 200 is 100. And if I try that, that works on the first try. So I have the square root of 100 and the square root of 2. Okay? Notice you have m squared. Since it's squared, it's going to come out of the radical. N is going to stay inside the radical with the 2. And the square root of 100 is 10, so you have 10m square root of 2n. So if you did this in a couple different steps, or your steps don't look like mine, but you got the same answer, don't worry, okay? Because we all kind of work a little bit differently. If you see a right triangle, okay, if you see a right triangle, know that you're doing Pythagorean theorem. If it says anything about right triangle, Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. A and b are your two shorter sides. You can swap those up if you want. Like 10 could be a or b, and 7 could be a or b. This side is your longest side. It is always c. It's always by itself over here. And so you just plug into your formula. So 10 squared plus 7 squared is equal to c squared. Notice your directions say write your answer in simplest form. This means you cannot get a decimal answer for your square root. You're going to have to break it down, okay, if you can. So I have 10 squared plus 7 squared, 100 plus 49. That gives us 149 equals c squared. To get the c by itself, I just took the square root right here on both sides. About half of 149 is about 75, and so I tried all of these. None of these would divide evenly into 149, so I just kept this as the square root of 149 since nothing would divide evenly.